Hi everyone, welcome to Sunya IS. In this session, we will continue the series of modern Indian history. Here in today's session, as you can see, we are starting with the new topic, which is about the revolutionary activities. Right? In this particular session, we will understand that how different parts of the Indian states or different states in India, how they started the revolutionary activities and what is the meaning of revolution. So when you talk about revolution, revolution is a clash between old and new. Let's say there was an old order and people in a new era, they don't want it anymore, but they don't see any support coming from political or administrative levels. And when they see that rulers or politicians or government is not really taking care of their demands, they start the revolution so that they take the charge on their own hand. Okay, so when people, general masses, general public, civilians, tribals, peasants, when they take the charge of changing the government, of changing the time, of you know having a new development or a new era started, that is revolution. Why it happens? It happens just because sometimes there is a failure in the government machineries. Administrative powers are not working well, and in case they don't work well, they somehow invite other people to come and take up the authority. Right now, let's say that you are a student, right? You need to study something, but in case you don't do so, it's your duty to study. But if you don't follow your duties, if you don't do it nicely, then what will happen? The things which you need to do or which you aspire to do would be done by someone else, maybe someone who will have the charge in his or her hand, even if it is something on your personal level or a family level. So it happens like this only. It is all about taking the back seat or driving the car. So driving forces, when they fail, then people who are at the back seat, they come forward and they take the charge that you just move on. We will just do things by our own will, and as we don't see any developments coming out from your ways, then we can have our own path being followed. So here, let's start from Bengal, because Bengal was the epicenter of nationalism. When we saw that there was a split among the leaders, Congress leaders, extremists and moderates, they got a split, and it was in 1907 in Surat session. So with the Surat split, what happened was somehow revolutionary activities also got triggered, because many of the youngsters, they were radicals and they wanted to change something, but they saw no view in the Congress leadership. And sometimes when they themselves understood that leaders in Congress, inside the Congress, are fighting among themselves, people somehow got offended, and they thought that they are disillusioned, and there was no way to synchronize this energy, and that's why things got in a distracted turn. So let's understand how it was. However, in this situation, the bravery, the personal level of sacrifice is very much admired and commendable. But the problem was that still they were not organized enough, they were not prepared enough, funds were not nicely, maintained with them. They were not able to raise funds on time, sometimes because of the lack of money and planning. These revolutionary activities failed. Okay, but still we will see how they created an influence and how they pressurized the British government. So by the 1870s, the Calcutta student community, it was honeycombed with the secret societies. Honeycombed means many secret societies were working here in the Calcutta's student community. So many students from different secret societies came in this area, and they were trying to discuss things like what we can do, how can we make this government fearful, how can we raise our voice, how can we raise the demand, how can we get something on a political scenario. But they were not very active, means they just had few discussions, and they were just working, but in a very normalized flow, right? And they were very moderate because there was no trigger, right? There was no triggering effect. But the first revolutionary groups which got organized in 1902, it was in Midnapur, okay, the first one, and it was under Gyanendra Basu or Jnanendra Basu, okay, Gyanendra Nath Basu. And in Calcutta, the Anushilan Samiti was there. Anushilan Samiti, it was founded by Pramod Mitra or Pramod Mitra. Fine. I can see that there is a question by Abhishek Kumar. First phase normally from 1905 से 1917 बोलते हैं. See, the problem is that we need to understand that there is no particular date of a phase or a time. Like if I say that, when do you think that when the medieval Indian history starts? Then we all can have our own dates and time periods to divide it. You can divide it from the starting point of 7th century also, and you can start it from the 11th century also, or you can start it from the 12th century also. If I ask you about the starting part of your modern Indian history, then you may say that with the arrival of Europeans it got started, or maybe with the arrival of Mughals, or maybe after that. Okay. Now the problem is, if we say that these revolutionary activities, when they got started, exact date or the time, that is something very, very, difficult to answer because it's very unclear. Why? Because see, it started due to the partition of Bengal in 1905. But if I say, was it only due to that partition of Bengal, or was there any other discomfort? Yes, discomforts were already there. But when the Bengal partition happened, people got angry. That anger got converted into revolutionary activities. So the reason comes from 1905 in a very lawful way. But it got highlighted in the Surat split of 1907. Fine. And after that, we will see that after 1907, in 1902 only, the Midnapur was there, in which first revolutionary groups were getting organized. So that means that even before the partition of Bengal, we had few groups, right? If we talk about the Calcutta student community, they were, started meeting by the time of 1870s only. So you can say that they were working before the foundation of Congress, right? So I hope you got the point that why I stated that date of 1907, because of the Surat split. I mentioned it. Okay. Mitra Mela, Abhinav Bharat, Anushinal Samiti form pushed extremists to be more aggressive. See, one point is here, Abhishek, you have a very good doubt, and I really like this, approach of questioning things in a very analytical manner. The question is, does Mitra Mela, Abhinav Bharat, and Anushilan Samiti formation pushed extremists to be more aggressive? The answer is no. Somehow they got support, their ideas got highlighted, but they were not pushed. Why? See, understand. There is a difference between an organization or a samiti or a revolutionary group and a political party. Okay? Congress is like a political party. It's like a, it's like a party. It's like a political platform in which members are there. Among those members, we had few moderate members and few extremist members, but they all were there in the Congress. Fine. Here we have Congress. On the other hand, we had few revolutionary groups, samitis, organizations. Few of them followed very moderate approach. Like they just used to, spread distributions of pamphlets. They used to distribute different articles, and they used to do some workshops, create awareness, and do some social contributions, social discussions, and all. But few of them started raising funds by dakaitis, and they started gathering the arms and ammunitions to fight in a very violent way. Few of them were extreme and extremely violent. So we can't say that all these groups somehow inspired the extremist leaders, but extremist leaders were concerned about them. Okay, they knew, extremist leaders knew that somehow these people, in the revolutionary groups, they want something and the radical change is needed. But the problem is that we need to understand that uh, these revolutionary groups sometimes followed very unlawful activities which used to be unlawful in the eyes of the Britishers. Okay, they used to murder, kill, and do things in a very, you can say criminal way. But these crimes were to make India independent. So we can call it a struggle, right? And they used to lose their lives also sometimes. So it was a sacrifice. They were working at their own level with their own mindset. But it was a crime in front of Europeans. But it was a powerful thing and a sacrifice in front of Indians. We Indians like them. We Indians like Bhagat Singh. But Europeans don't like Bhagat Singh. If you ask them that how Britishers took the example of Bhagat Singh, or how do they see Bhagat Singh, the role of Bhagat Singh, they even today they consider him as a terrorist. But we consider him as a freedom fighter. Why? Because the government was a foreign government, a British government. So in front of the British Raj, criminal activities were done and so many unlawful activities were committed by the revolutionary groups. But if you talk about Congress, in the Congress, so few members were there. It's very much like a family in which even if you see your own family, all the members are not same. Few of the members would be very peaceful. Okay, they may have a very ignorant attitude. Some of them may be very strict. Okay, if you just analyze your own family members, if you have a sibling, you can see that your sibling is very different from your own approach and perspectives. So it is always possible in a family. So Congress is a different family. Among those family members, few extremist leaders came. Now, why they are known as extremists? Because they can go extra constitutional. They wanted to raise their voice. They wanted to protest. They wanted to go outside the Bengal. Okay, and they just wanted to, mix up with the masses and supported the radical ideas also. Fine, supported the radical ideas of the revolutionary groups also, but moderate leaders never supported the revolutionary groups. I hope you got the point. Individual heroic action, yes. Fine. And Sunil, you asked about the chapter's name. See, if you can see, it is written in the topic, right? Lesson 10, first phase of revolutionary activities. Can you see it's written in the video itself? So that's the name of the lesson. However, if you open the Spectrum book, it's in chapter number 12. Okay. I don't know if it is in 12 or 13, but maybe 12 in the new edition. Just check it. Now, let's come back to the topic. I hope you're getting the point. What are we discussing today? See, this is the energy of the live class. When we meet live, this is to get something. This is to do something. Why don't I record the video and post it on the YouTube? It is very easy for me. Okay, and it will save my time also. But it's not just about views and reaching millions and creating a playlist to just complete a book. No, my intention is to interact with you guys. I really feel like there are many students who need help, and as we know that the prelims exam is postponed now, so we have more time to prepare. So that's why I just want to do this mission with you guys, where you would be able to interact with someone on daily basis, that there is someone live and you can always come and ask anything which is even not related to modern history, that is also answered in the class, right? So this is just to have an interaction so that we have a chill pill and do some study. So it's like that. Fine. Now we understand the topic of today's particular lecture is the revolutionary groups. I told you that we had two phases of revolutionary activities in India. In the first phase, we will discuss the time period which is during the First World War. Okay, this is the time period when the activities started after the partition of Bengal and the Surat split of Congress. If you talk about these activities, even if activities got highlighted and activated later, but the groups were already formed. Fine. So it's not a work of a 1 or 2 day, right? It's not something which you can just create and make like this. No, it was not a magic. It was something which was already there, existing, but got activated later. As you can see in 1870s, these people, these students from different, secret societies used to come and sit, but they were only talking. They were not doing anything, but they became active later after the partition of Bengal. So, if we talk about the first revolutionary groups, first was in Midnapur under Jnanendra Nath Basu in 1902, and in Calcutta, Anushilan Samiti was there, founded by Pramod Mitra, and including Jatindranath Banerjee also, Barindra Kumar Ghosh, and many other revolutionary leaders. Now, if I ask you that whom do you consider, having contributed maximum in the independence of India? Moderates, extremists, or revolutionaries? What do you think? Moderates, extremists, or revolutionaries? Few of them were very, very important during the moderate phase, because moderate phase created a base of nationalism and awareness in India, on the grounds of which mass struggle could be prepared later. However, they were very, very slow. They took 20 years to prepare this ground, but still it was useful. If we talk about the extremist group, it really utilized that ground of mass struggle in a better way with the later stages. But many of these students and many Indians even today think that revolutionaries like Bhagat Singh and Gadar Party, they gave us independence. Because of those only we got something, because they were the real heroes. They were the real freedom fighters who used to follow the individual heroic actions and never wanted to join a party platform, or to, they were not working to get a leadership or a name or a fame in some of the party like Congress or Muslim League, or any other platform which was popular at that time. No, they were not working for popularity or to get inside a party or to get inside a thing or a box to just make a career. No, they were just doing something from their heart. Nowadays we don't see people like this, right? If we just ask general people around us, or if I just ask you, or if you ask me, it would be very, very difficult. Hardly anyone of us will join after sacrificing everything, the family, personal life, career life, just for the country. Okay, it's very easy to say that yes, I want to serve the nation, but when it comes in the real challenge in front of the real people, then it becomes very difficult. So these people, so many people, we should appreciate their efforts. Physical and moral training to the members, and they remained very insignificant till 1907 to 08. Okay, so what they used to do, they used to give only physical and moral training to the members. Why physical training? That in case there is a war like situation or a battle like situation, few of the youngsters could be prepared to go and fight against Britishers. And moral training, so that they are nationalist in their behavior, patriotic in their behavior, and would serve the nation in a good way. Right? So these members only got few physical and moral trainings, but they were not significant. Why? Because there was no trigger. So the trigger was the partition of Bengal and Surat split. So after 1907, all these groups and these students community secret societies, they got activated. So when they got activated, the first phase of revolutionary activities got started in India. Fine, I hope you understood the point. Those of you who just joined the session, kindly like and share the video. You guys are not supporting me well. However, I thought to increase the sessions in this lecture series, but I really also want to end it now, because I feel that by the next week I'll just finish it off, because I really expected a lot of students to come live and interact with me. You guys are watching it, many of you are there, but they watch recorded session later, they don't come live, and I don't see many of you sharing also, because I am very active in all the social medias and telegram groups, and in each and every part, everywhere I just see and check all my students, like what exactly they are doing, what is in need or demand with the students and aspirants. But I don't see my lectures are getting shared a lot, so I just want to see few more links on the platforms. If you can do so, that will be highly appreciative, and I will plan a new lecture series only if you motivate the platform. Now, come to the next one, a very important leader, Rash Bihari Ghosh, okay, or Rash Bihari Bose. He is a very important leader, and he played a very significant role. One more was Sachin Sanyal. So, these two leaders, they had organized a secret society, okay, and they were using very rural and far flung areas. So they organized a secret society in which they covered the far flung areas of Punjab, Delhi, UP, United Province, and some others like Hemchandra Kanungo went abroad for military and political training. So can you see their mindset and approach? They used to discuss things that if we are having 10 members in this secret society, then each and every member should tell that what kind of contribution they can make. Like if someone is like an engineer, that person can make radio or something like that. If a person is doctor, then will give medical services to all the medical members in the group. If someone can could go to the foreign country for any military training or uh, arms and ammunitions training, then that person can go there. If a person is more happy and comfortable in rural areas, in far flung areas, then that person can go in that area. So they divided the work like this, so it's like a teamwork. And when they all supported each other, they understood that they were able to create a very big amount of change. So in this way, they understood that each and everything needs to be covered. So a 360-degree approach was there. And they thought that nothing is wrong in this particular scenario of war. They understood that the situation of India is getting worse day by day. They knew that Indians were suffering. They knew that Britishers are exploitative, and they understood the real character and nature of Britishers. So somehow they had this purity in their mind and clarity in their mind that we are working for the nation and everything is fine. In this situation, when they wanted to raise funds, they used to do dakaitis. However, sometimes they used to become thieves, robbers. You can call and use any words for them, but it doesn't matter for them. They were so ignorant about these things. They were like, we just want money, we just want to liberate our country, we will do whatever it takes. Let people say whatever they want. And in case someone is suffering or dying due to this or having any problem with these activities, then it's just a part of plan. We can't do so. We can't help it. And they could not help it, because it's not possible to make 100% perfect plan. If you are making something big and if you really want to challenge the government, then it will always take a lot of deep efforts. And in these things, you can't, avoid few silly mistakes. They will become a part of plan itself, and you need to ignore these things. So they became ignorant to these emotional and utter influential and general issues. They became very drastically strategic, and sometimes they behaved like a you can say a person who is very emotionless. Okay, so they became like that. Okay, they were not thinking very emotionally. Now they started planning things in a very strategic way, that they just want to do something, and with a very focused goal, they will do and go for it. In 1907, Yugantar Group. Okay, Yugantar Group, an abortive attempt was there, which was made by Yugantar Group on the life of a very unpopular British official, Sir Fuller. Okay, they wanted to kill this person, but they were not able to do it. Sir Fuller was the first lieutenant governor of the new province of East Bengal and Assam, which is in East Bengal, which is Bangladesh now. Okay, so as you know that the Eastern Bengal was the Muslim dominance area, and Britishers created it to just follow the divide and rule policy, and Britishers somehow just wanted to create a disturbance. So the new governor, the first governor, Sir Fuller, was the British official. But before they could, kill him or do something against him, he had resigned from the post. He resigned on August 20th, 1906. So this attempt was not successful, but here you can understand and imagine the ideas and the level of actions they used to prepare. Like, we discussed something about moderates and extremist Congress leaders, but we have not read anything like this. It is crazy, right? To kill like a governor who was in the new province of Eastern Bengal. It was something out of the mind. In December 1907, there were attempts to derail the train on which the Lieutenant Governor Sri Andrew Fraser was travelling in 1908. Here, Prafulla Chakki and Khudiram Bose, you can see here these two people. Look at the images clearly. They threw a bomb at the carriage. Okay, and they thought that the carriage would be having a sadistic white judge Kingsford in Muzaffarpur. However, in the Kingsford was not in the carriage, so this attempt was not completely successful. But unfortunately, because of this bombardment, unfortunately, two British ladies instead got killed, because of which Praful Chakki shot himself dead while Khudiram Bose was tried and hanged. So here you can see that how Britishers used to take actions against these revolutionaries. These leaders somehow knew that the way they are moving against the government and the actions which they were planning, they had a good idea that in case they get caught, they will be hanged or there would be a very harsh measure against them. Still, they, took these kind of steps, and sometimes they decided to kill themselves or do suicide or run away from the country. Sometimes they just, got captured, and then when once they were captured or tried, most of them were hanged only. So this is something which is very, very important, and it shows you the British approach against these revolutionary leader. In 1908, we had a Barahat Dakaiti. It is again a very important point. Understand this. It was organized by Dhaka Anushilan Samiti, and it was under Pulin Das. They wanted to raise some funds. They wanted to have some money for the revolutionary activities. Rash Bihari Bose and Sachin Sanyal staged a very spectacular bomb attack on Viceroy Harding while he was making his official entry in the new capital of Delhi and in a procession through Chandni Chowk in December 1912. Harding was injured but not killed, but this injury is a very big victory for the Indians, right? So they used to, show their anger, and they wanted to make Europeans go away from India anyhow. Investigations followed the assassination attempt led to the Delhi conspiracy trial. In this Delhi conspiracy trial, many of the revolutionary leaders and names got highlighted, and some of them got captured later. At the end of the trial, Basant Kumar Biswas, Amir Chand, Awadh Bihari were convicted and executed for their roles in the conspiracy. They all lost their lives. So these names are very, very important for your prelims, because in the exam they ask you directly from these cases by taking the names, by using the terms and officers. Like they may ask you that what do you mean by Delhi conspiracy case in the exam. Okay, and I wish that you will always solve it with a good clarity. Now, if we talk about Rash Bihari Bose, he was known as a person behind the plan, but he evaded the arrest. He was not arrested. He only planned this Delhi conspiracy case. So he just escaped from that area. And in the western part of India, Western Anushilan Samiti, they found a good leader in Jatindranath Mukherjee or Bagha Jatin. Okay, he was a very, very great leader and he emerged as a Yugantar or a Yugantar, and he was working in a very good way. We will discuss more about Bagha Jatin or Jatindranath Mukherjee. I'll discuss more about him. During the Gadar revolution, we will discuss. During other revolutionary activities, we will highlight these names. Jatin, you know what he did? He revitalized the links between the central organization in Calcutta and other places in Bengal, Bihar, and Odisha. He wanted all leaders to come together. And during the First World War, the Jugantar Party arranged to import German arms and ammunitions. If you remember, yesterday I made a flowchart for you in which I showed that Britishers were fighting against Germany in the First World War. So Britain and Germany, they were enemies. Britishers ruled on India, so Indians took help from Germany. They knew that Germany can always provide arms and ammunition because Germany was the enemy of Britain. So, through the sympathizers and revolutionaries abroad, he got this opportunity to bring these German arms and ammunitions. Okay, he was able to get a lot of success in this area. Jatin asked Raj Bihari Bose to take charge and collect these arms. Okay, so Rash Bihari Bose was taking care of the upper India, and they were aiming to bring about an all India insurrection in what has come to be called as the German plot or the Zimmermann plan. But this plan was not successful, but there was a question in prelims from this particular line. The Jugantar party raised funds through a series of dacoities which came to be known as taxi cab dacoities, and both dacoities so as to work out the Indo-German conspiracy. It was planned that a guerrilla force would be organized to start an uprising in the country. With the seizure of Fort William and a mutiny by armed forces, they planned everything in a very good way. Unfortunately for the revolutionaries, the plot was leaked out by a traitor. So they had a traitor, and that person was not with him. They were not with the team, and that's why this conspiracy failed. But you can see how nicely people organize themselves. This organization, it will improve more during the second phase of revolutionary movements. But right now, focus that this is the time period of or around the First World War. And in this situation, you can see that how Jatin asked Raj Bihari Bose to take up the part of Upper India. They organized guerrilla warfare programs also. They, were doing a lot of dacoities as taxi cab dacoities, boat dacoities. So this is a very big plot, right? It is a great level of plot, right? Abhishek, you can just search my name simply, or you can just search the Sunya Eyes platform also for the same. Yes, Abhishek, I can see all your comments. Your statements are very, very nice. Sometimes you can, say that every statement is not completely true and not completely wrong. It is all about where you say it and when you apply it as an example. So just try to understand that we get very energized when we talk about these revolutionary groups. But here, just have a disclaimer in your mind that while writing answers in mains or giving answers in interview, you don't need to lose your patience. Don't show that you are a kind of a revolutionary person inside. Don't be very radical in your approach. Follow a balanced approach, a mid path, in which you should appreciate the role of moderates also, role of extremist leaders also, role of Gandhiji also, role of Bhagat Singh also, role of everyone. Okay, in front of you, everyone is same. Behave like a mother. For a mother, all the kids are same. She loves each and every kid in a very equal way. So have an equal approach when you read something. Don't love a topic more and don't hate a topic more. Okay, you should not have this feeling of attachment or detachment from different topics in history, because it happens. Because when you read history, no, you will feel that you will feel a lot of changes in your thinkings and behaviors. It changes your daily lifestyle also. It's a very different kind of subject. It is not like other subjects. So when you read history, you will feel a kind of, you know blood boiling inside your body. Sometimes you will feel goosebumps, sometimes you will feel very sad, upset, sometimes you will feel angry, because it's like a story of your country, right? And if you have even a small string attached as a patriotic feeling with your country, then you will always be moved with each and every topic of modern history. But don't get a lot of drawn into it, okay? And you can write these things in comments and talk to me like this, but you can't write it in the exam, okay? Because their opinion of aspirants somehow doesn't matter a lot. So aspirants also need to understand that they write everything in a very good way. And even if a criticism is there, the criticism should be very constructive and positive. Use positive words even if you want to write or give any negative opinion on something. For negative things also, if you will use the positive words, you will gain more marks. Okay, it's a psychological trick to write the mains answer writing. So we have a lot of negativity against the British Raj, and we really hate a lot of problems and exploitations which we suffered through, and even today we are suffering due to the colonization, right? But that should not come in the answers of international relations. It should not come in your mind if you become a diplomat, right? If you become an IFS officer and if you represent your family, or your country, your government, you need to behave, right? So just follow that and be very smart. Fine. Now come to the next question, next point. Here we were discussing about few revolutionary activities. So I was telling you about that Zimran plot or German plot. Okay. So Rash Bihari Bose was in the Upper India. They had these taxi cab dacoities. They were having funds. They had planned the guerrilla force also, and they wanted to start from the Fort William. But the problem was that police came to know the Bagha Jatin was in Balasore, and they understood that he is waiting. He was waiting for the delivery of German arms. So there, when police understood this, they went to just capture Bagha Jatin, and to control it, there was a gunfight. In the gunfight, as a result of which the revolutionaries were either killed or arrested. The German plot failed, and Jatun Mukherjee was shot and died a hero's death in Balasore on the Odisha coast in September 1915. Okay, this is the story of Bagha Jatin. Okay, Jatin Mukherjee, who followed this German plot, wanted to do so, but died a hero's death. Okay, I hope you liked this story of Jatin Mukherjee. So, we shall die to awaken the nation was the call of Bhaga Jatin. The newspaper and journals advocating the revolutionary activity included Sandhya and Yugantar in Bengal and Kal in Maharashtra. So please remember all these names because these newspapers and journals really wished people to open their eyes and raise their voice. Clear? Okay. Do you guys have any doubts till now? Let me know if you want to ask something. Now we will come to the next state, which is Maharashtra. We discussed something about Bengal. Now we will discuss about Maharashtra. Okay. So before I come to Maharashtra, you can ask your doubts if you want to discuss anything. Okay. Now let's come to the Maharashtra. The first of the revolutionary activities in Maharashtra, it was organized, as Ramosi Peasant Force by Vasudev Balwant. So, with the name, I hope you can understand that peasants were very, very important here. So, Ramosi Peasant Force by Vasudev Balwant Phadke. So, Vasudev Balwant Phadke in 1879 organized this revolutionary force. They aimed to rid the country of British rule by instigating an armed revolt by disrupting communication lines. So they were trying to disrupt the communication lines and start an armed revolt. So they, planned something like this. During 1890s, Tilak propagated a spirit of militant nationalism. Militant nationalism means if you have a feeling of nationalism, then you should have a feeling to go against the government in a very militant way with this strong behavior using the arms and ammunitions. So they included the use of violence and they highlighted that this energy, this violent trend is also fine. Through Ganpati and Shivaji festivals and his journals like Kesari and Maharat or Maratha, okay, like if you write it in English, it looks like Maharat, but the pronunciation, the real name is Maratha. So Kesari and Maratha, by these journals, he wanted to popularize the idea of militant nationalism, which said that you should give blood for your nation, you should take arms for your nations, you should come out of your houses, and if you are getting uncomfortable, even then it is fine. You can see here Kesari and how it was written in Marathi so that people could read it in the local language and get motivated by it. Two of his disciples, the Chapekar brothers, Damodar Chapekar and Balakrishna Chapekar, they murdered the plague commissioner of Pune, Alexander Rand, and one lieutenant arrest in 1897. Why? Because the plague commissioner of Pune, Alexander Rand, what he did, uh, these people they were checking as if a lot of deaths were happening at that time. If you remember the COVID situation, what happened? During the COVID-19 situation, when the first phase came, in the first wave, if you remember, when it was very, very new, people had no idea to deal with it. People were afraid and they became very insensitive, right? Even if they knew that if someone is suffering or going through this COVID problem, people started discrimination in the society against the family or the member. So, you know, that COVID situation really taught us a lot of things about the reality of life. Who is the real friend? Who is the real enemy? People understood so many things, right? So, if you just remember that part, uh, police officers and a hospital department together started investigations, and they wanted to search those who were suffering from COVID. They wanted to admit the person in the hospital, but people by themselves were not going to the hospital, and they were not taking help from the doctors because they were afraid. But police, they initially they used to go, and if you remember, sometimes they used to be very forceful and capture the person who is suffering, pack him, and with the pp kit just trap the person's body and just take him away. Like, a very insensitive approach was there. So, this forceful action of checking and going inside the houses to see if somebody is suffering, or to do the investigation and do the tests, were similarly happening during the plague of 1890s. Plague is like a infection only. This is a kind of infection which spreads by the rats, especially, and in the unhygienic conditions, it spreads more. So it was spreaded. Now the commissioners who used to go forcefully, they used to enter the house, and after taking the checks and by collecting those tests and reports, when they saw that if someone is suffering, they used to capture the person and hospitalize or admit that person forcefully. When Alexander Rand, he was there in Pune, he was just to go and check and see a house, but he was stopped by the people and family members that there is a lady giving birth to a baby. She was going through the labor pain. But Alexander Rand didn't listen to anyone. He forcefully went inside in the insensitive area of the lady who was suffering from that particular labor pain, and she was going through the labor pain. But Alexander Rand did not stop. He conducted the test, and due to his misbehavior, it is said that the lady lost the baby, infant baby. And then in the Kesari, Tilak published this entire report, and he, raised his voice and stated the quotes from Mahabharat, and how Lord Krishna used to guide Arjun, that even if you need to kill a Rakshas, then don't be afraid of it, and it is important for the world and for the society, then you should be violent and you should kill the Rakshas. So these, brothers, Chapekar brothers, Damodar and Balakrishna Chapekar, they got motivated by reading it, and so many other people also got motivated, and then they killed this person, Alexander Rand. They murdered him. So after this only, Tilak was charged of sedition and police arrested him. Savarkar and his brothers also, they organized a Mitra Mela. Mitra Mela was a secret society in 1899. It got merged with the Abhinav Bharat. Abhinav Bharat was a separate society, but they both came together after Mazzini's Young Italy. So if you read the Italian unification, there the role of Mazzini is very, very important. Mazzini was a constitutionalist, and he knew about a lot of things going on in the world. He organized Italy, and he wanted Italy to unite and fight together. So in 1904 only, Abhinav Bharat and Mitra Mela, they came together, and they got merged. Soon Nasik, Bombay, Pune emerged as a great center of bomb manufacture. In 1909, A.M.T. Jackson, the collector of Nasik, who was also a well known Indologist, was killed by Anant Lakshman Kanhare. Okay, he was a member of Abhinav Bharat. Anant Lakshman Kanhare, member of Abhinav Bharat, killed the collector of Nasik. Okay, so here you can see that how people started, reacting, and they knew that somehow the government policies are not fine for the Indians, and they lost trust on the Congress leaders also. That's why they thought to behave like this and started the revolution in this way. Okay, now let's come to the Punjab area. The Punjab extremism was also there. Here also so many revolutionary groups were there, and they had issues such as frequent famines, okay, rise of land revenue, irrigation tax, begar mazduri by the zamindars, and other events happening in Bengal, like the partition of Bengal, suppression of leaders, political leaders. So all these problems were going on in Punjab. As Britishers needed a lot of grains, food grains, even the need increased during the First World War. They started exporting everything from India to Britain. So, with less food grains, famines happened because we had nothing to eat. A lot of inflation was rising. With the inflation, land revenue was rising. Government started taking irrigational tax also, and practice of begar increased. Begar is what? It is like a begari mazduri, in which, let's say, a generation to generation problem is there, that if a farmer takes loan, and if farmer takes loan from a zamindar, he will repay the loan in his entire life. Sometimes farmers were not educated enough, they knew no mathematics, so they were not able to calculate and understand things, so they just used to pay the installments, EMIs, whatever you call it, after keeping the land, their own land, as a collateral to the zamindar. So what zamindars used to do, they used to give money and payments, they used to make payments to the farmer. But farmer, after the death of farmer, the next generation, like sons of farmer, they will also continue paying the tax. Sometimes they lost their land also, and they worked on their own land just to survive, so that they could get some food. But they got no payments, there was no base pay, there was no assignment to them. They were just working and working, had no profit in the they had no share in the profit. They were not able to sell the produce on their own price. The price was fixed, things were fixed by the Britishers, so they used to just follow it. So all these problems were there. Okay, among those active here were Lala Lajpat Rai in Punjab, who brought up Punjabi with the motto of self help at any cost, Atmanirbhar. Okay, Ajit Singh was a very, very popular leader. He was the uncle of Bhagat Singh, who organized the extremist Anjumane Mohis-Bane Watan. Please remember the name. And with its journal, Bharat Mata. Okay, this is very important line for prelims, guys. Please understand this. Okay, so if we talk about the revolutionaries of Punjab, we had Lala Lajpat Rai and Ajit Singh. Ajit Singh was the uncle of Bhagat Singh. Ajit Singh organized the extremist group known as Anjumane Mohisbane Watan in Lahore, and he had its journal Bharat Mata. Okay, before Ajit Singh's group turned to extremism, it was active in urging non-payment of revenue. They were already fighting for the water rates among the Chenab colonists and Pari Doab peasants. Okay, so they were already working for peasants, they were already talking about it. Here, Punjabi area, if you see, even the Green Revolution when it came to India, it started from Punjab. Why? Because if you see farmers of Punjab, they are big farmers. They have more lands, and a big amount of farming population was always there in Punjab. And they were sometimes wealthy farmers, sometimes middle level farmers. So that's why Punjab and farming is always connected. since the time of history. Other leaders included Aga Haidar, Sayyid Edhar Raza, Bhai Parmanand, and the radical Urdu poet Lal Chand, who used the pen name Falak. Okay, Falak. Fine. So these leaders were from Punjab. I hope you understood it. It's very, very important point. Okay. Now let's talk about the Gadar party. Okay. This is a very, very important revolutionary group. It had its headquarters in San Francisco, and they were quite successful also. Let's talk about them. Now, Gadar Party was a revolutionary group around, organized around a weekly newspaper. The name of the weekly newspaper was The Gadar, with its headquarters at San Francisco and branches along the US coast in the Far East. These revolutionaries included mainly ex-soldiers and peasants who had migrated from Punjab to the USA and Canada in search of better employment opportunities. So, when they started earning well and had a good life in the foreign countries, they thought about the Indians. They were based in US and Canada cities. Okay? So, when they were there and they were also along the western Pacific coast, they thought that India is suffering. So, pre Gadar revolutionary activities were there, and they had carried by or on by Ramdas Puri, G.D. Kumar, Taraknath Das, Sohan Singh Bhakna, Lala Hardayal, and they all reached there in 1911. They all were very, very active and important leaders, and they started few revolutionary activities also. But they wanted to do something big. Now, to carry out the revolutionary activities, the earlier activists, they had set up a Swadesh Sevak home. It was at Vancouver and United India House at Seattle. But in 1913, they got the opportunity to establish the Gadar. So in 1913, Gadar was established. Swadesh Sevak Home was established. The Gadar program was to organize the assassinations of officials, publish revolutionary articles, newspapers, and other things, and anti imperialist literature, work among Indian troops stationed abroad, procure arms, collect arms and ammunitions, bring about a simultaneous revolt in all the British colonies so that Britishers can lose everywhere and get disturbed from all the directions. The moving spirit behind the Gadar party were Lala Hardayal, okay, Ramachandra, Bhagwan Singh Kartar Singh Saraba, Barakutullah, and Bhai Parmanand. All these leaders and their names are very, very important. Now, I hope you understood what is Gadar party. Okay, it was a party organization from San Francisco. They had a newspaper, the Gadar. These leaders were there and they wanted to do all these things. Okay, by planning the assassination, publish the literature, work with Indians, troops stationed abroad, procure some arms and ammunition, and have simultaneous revolt in all the British colonies. Okay, it was formed in 1913. Okay, now you understood about the Gadar party. Now see what they did. The Gadarites intended to bring a revolt in India, and their plans were encouraged by two events. In 1914, they wanted to do something in India, but the plan got highlighted. One by the Komagata Maru incident. Second was the outbreak of First World War, where Britain and Germany were fighting. So, what is the Komagata Maru incident? Komagata Maru is a name of a ship. It was a ship, Japanese name, and it was carrying 370 passengers, mainly Sikh passengers, and few Punjabi Muslims. They wanted to migrate. They were would-be immigrants from Singapore to Vancouver. So they wanted to come in Vancouver. But they were turned back by the Canadian authorities because Canada was also a colony of Britain. Okay. After 2 months of privation and uncertainty, let's just assume how could be the condition in ship. A ship was holding for 2 months to just wait for the approvals to enter. They were not allowed to enter and they were sent back. So when they were sent back, they came from Singapore. So from Singapore to Vancouver, they were trying. But it was generally believed that Canadian authorities were influenced by the British government. So they had no power and time to reach Singapore again. They just came to Calcutta in September 1914. The inmates refused to board the Punjab bound train and government didn't allow to let them come inside the country. So in the ensuing conflict with the police at Baj, which is near Calcutta, 22 persons died. They wanted to come inside the country, but they were not allowed. Inflamed by this and with the outbreak of First World War, the Gadra leaders decided to launch a violent attack to oust the British rule in India and to finish it completely. Okay, because they knew that Sikhs and so many Punjabis, they were now not allowed to enter in India, in their own country. This is very illegitimate. They urged fighters to go to India, and Kartar Singh Saraba and Raghubar Dayal Gupta, they, planned that, okay, now we will go to India. So these people, they came to India, Kartar Singh and Raghubar Dayal Gupta. Now when they came here, Bengal revolutionaries were contacted. And a very popular revolutionary, which I have told you, Rash Bihari Bose and Sachin Sanyal, these two leaders, they were asked to lead the entire revolt. So Rash Bihari Bose and Sachin Sanyal became very, very happy that they got such a great opportunity, and political dacoities were committed to raise funds. Now the Gadrids fixed 21st February 1915 as the date to start the revolt. They wanted it as an armed revolt. So they had a big plan in Firozpur, Lahore, Rawalpindi garrisons. They planned it. But the plan was failed at the very last moment. Why? Because of treachery. Somebody leaked their plan and the authorities took immediate actions against them. And it was aided by the Defense of India Rules 1915. And if you remember the Defense of India Rules 1915, British government had a list of unproblematic things so that they could handle these revolutionaries and hang them one by one. So it was an ending of this entire Gadar revolution. They were not successful, but it is something which shows that how the first phase of revolution was there and the level of planning which was there. The Berlin Committee for Indian Independence. Look at the revolutionaries in Europe. Few Europeans and few foreigners wanted India to liberate. So a Berlin Committee for Indian Independence was established in 1915. Berlin is in Germany. Again, you can see we could only get help from the enemies of Britishers, right? So in 1915, by Virendranath Chattopadhyay and Bhupendranath Datta and Lala Hardayal, these people, they all planned this Berlin Committee. They made it the Berlin Committee for Indian Independence. They other leaders were also there, and they worked with the help of German Foreign Office under Zimmermann Plan, which I told you, in which revolutionaries were planning to get some German arms and guns to start a revolt in India. But Bagha Jatin was shot dead. If you remember, I told you this, right? What was the full name of Bagha Jatin? What was the full name of Bhagha Jatin? Who will tell me? If you have not liked the session yet, please like it. I am waiting. I will wait for your answer. Let's take a small 1 minute break. Okay, so the break is over. Yes, Jatindra Nath Mukherjee is the right answer, Pranav. Very nice. Uh, you can search it with my name only. Okay, with my name you can search. No worries. And you can see it on the Sunya's platform also. Now, these revolutionaries, they aim to mobilize the Indian settlers abroad to send volunteers and arms to India to incite a rebellion. But they organized this armed invasion, but it failed because if you remember, the Bagha Jatin was captured, and they it was a very big failure that due to a treachery they were not able to achieve something greatly. Fine. So they just aim to mobilize the Indian settlers abroad. They send the volunteers also. They had a plan to start some rebellion among Indian troops, but it was not that helpful. Fine. The Indian revolutionaries in Europe, they sent missions and they wanted to get some helps from different parts of the countries. So missions were sent to Baghdad, Persia, Turkey, Kabul to work among Indian troops. Indian troops means Indian soldiers and Indian prisoners of wars. Prisoners of wars means soldiers who went there to fight the war, and they were fighting for the Britishers but they got captured and now they were there. Okay, so it was to incite an anti-British feelings among the people of these countries. One mission was under Raja Mahindra Pratap Singh. Raja Mahindra Pratap Singh, Barakutullah and Ubaidullah Sindhi, they went to Kabul. Here you can see Virendranath Chattopadhyay. Okay, they went to Kabul to organize a provisional Indian government. Okay, provisional Indian government means or transitional government which could work later with the help of the crown prince Amanullah. Now Amanullah was also helping, but again you will see that it will not get any kind of success in the later stage because Britishers, somehow every time by some way or other they used to get the informations because they had their spies everywhere, and they ultimately suppressed everything. There was a mutiny in Singapore also. Among the scattered mutinies during this period, the most notable was the Singapore Mutiny, which happened in 15th January 1915 by Punjabi Muslim 5th Light Infantry and the 36th Sikh Battalion under Jamdar Chishti Khan, Jamdar Abdul Ghani, and Subedar Daud Khan, okay, Jamdar or Jamadar, Abdul Ghani, Jamadar, Chishti Khan. So basically, these three leaders were there. Okay, Chishti Khan, Abdul Ghani, and Daud Khan. They, wanted to have a mutiny because, of course, they were there in the army, but it was crushed after a fierce battle in which many were killed. 37 persons were executed and 41 got transported for the life. So you can see this picture here, how they were shot dead. Now, as we have understood about the revolutionary activities, you can see that all these things happened during the First World War. In the First World War from 1914 to 19, Britain allied with France, Russia, USA, Italy, Japan. Okay, so France, Russia, USA, Italy, Japan in the First World War. Later, you will see that Japan will also become the enemy of Britain. Later, right? Not right now. In the First World War, they were together and they were fighting against Germany, Austria, Hungary, and Turkey. So, what will happen? In the First World War, this group of Britain, France, Russia, USA, Italy, Japan, they will win. And this group will lose. Germany, Austria, Hungary, Turkey, they lost in the First World War. So, Turkey was a very important place for Muslims. Here, the Khalifa was there. The Turkish Khalifa, he was the religious head of Islamic community. All the Muslims in the world, they, had faith with Khalifa and they used to follow the orders of Khalifa. But the power of Khalifas got reduced after the First World War because Britishers, they imposed very harsh treaty on Germany also, on Austria-Hungary also, and on Turkey also. So when they imposed harsh treaty on Turkey, the Muslims in the entire world got upset. Even Indian Muslims, they started Khilafat movement to protect their Khalifa. So the Khilafat agitation starts after the end of First World War. But right now, before I start the discussion on Khilafat movement and non-cooperation movement, we need to understand two things. First, what was World War I, why it happened, and how it influenced the polity in India. Second, the Gandhiji, Gandhian era. Who was Gandhiji? How he came? Why he entered in the Indian politics? And then what he will do in the Khilafat movement. So after you understand these two points, then only Khilafat movement is something which would be understood by you. Just understand here that in the First World War, it was a war to increase the colonization. Britain wanted to be a superpower and Germany also wanted to be a superpower. They both wanted to acquire more and more lands, make more and more colonies, and get more and more power in the world. Initially, they had few secret alliance, triple alliances, but everything got highlighted and it came clear in front of everyone when the World War got started. After the end of World War in 1919, you can see the date 1914 to 1919. After the end of World War, you will see that a humiliating treaty is going to be there. There was a treaty, the Treaty of Versailles, which was signed between Britain and Germany. By that Treaty of Versailles, Germany was greatly humiliated. A very important resourceful land known as Rhineland was taken away from Germany. It was given to France. And the German army was also reduced. A huge amount of war indemnity was imposed on Germany. So Germany had to pay a lot of money. They lost a lot of soldiers, resources, power, wealth, and they were disrespected everywhere. And then economic depression also got started. During the economic depression, unemployment, poverty, inflation was rising in Germany. In this situation, Hitler took the opportunity to get some great hopes again in, in the public and get some public support. Hitler was a great orator, so he got public support and he started his own idea, Nazism, the Nazism ideology, and he became a very supreme leader. After which he declared war again on Germany. So, again in the Second World War, you will see Britain and Germany will fight, and again Britain will win. So, in both the world wars, in the First World War and the Second World War, Britishers got the victory. And both the times they used the resources of India, soldiers of India, grains, clothes, power from India. Everything was from India. Here you need to understand that USA was somehow supporting Britain in the First World War, but most of the time USA followed the policy of isolation. Understand the policy of USA here. In the World War One and World War Two. Okay? To understand this, I'll just tell you a small joke. There is a joke of a bania. Okay? Once upon a time, after a death of bania, बनिया आई होप यू नो, जो बिजनेसमैन होते हैं ना बनिया, तो एक बनिया था जिसकी डेथ हो गई, बनिया मर गया. आफ्टर द डेथ ऑफ बनिया, when he reached to the place of God, God gave him two options that you can choose if you want to go in heaven or if you want to go in hell. तुम्हें स्वर्ग चाहिए या नरक चाहिए, तुम खुद अपनी मर्जी से चुन सकते हो. तो बनिए ने बोला कि मुझे बीच में जगह चाहिए ताकि मैं अपनी दुकान खोलूं, क्योंकि दोनों तरफ से ही मुझे कस्टमर चाहिए. So Banya, he wanted to get a place in between the hell and heaven so that he can open his shop and get customers from both the sides. So USA also followed same policy like a Banya. USA wanted to have friendship from both Britain and Germany. Okay, why? Because he or USA or it never wanted, USA never wanted to lose the demand, customer demand from any of them. USA told Britain and Germany that you guys, if you want to continue the war and fights, you need arms and ammunitions. You need good weapons. And to make good weapons, we all know that it needs technology. So, for the technical development, study and research is needed. With the research, a lot of practice is needed. After the practice, we need to apply it in factories to make the guns and so many other things. To do all these things, a lot of management, hard work, focus, stability is needed. So, to follow all these things in a nice way, it's very important for a nation to be focused and stable. Okay. So, as you guys are fighting Britain and Germany, you both are my friends. Okay. USA said this to Britain and Germany that you both can continue the fight, and whenever you need any kind of supply of arms or any kind of need, if it is there during the war, I will fulfill it. You just pay me. Instead of, participating in the war actively, I am there to help you. I will make arms and ammunitions for you. I'll make good weapons for you. Whatever technology or research is needed, I will do it for you. I will study all the R&Ds, developments, practices would be followed by USA. We will make factories for you. We will manage everything and we will have a good stability. Don't worry. Just let me follow the policy of isolation. Let me be isolated. Let me just focus and give you all these things. So Germany said, "What about me? I also need guns. I also need weapons. So you need to support me also." So USA said, "Yes, I will support you also. I will supply arms to you. You just need to pay me well." It depends on your economy and wealth and savings that how much you can buy. If you have a good economy, if you have more power, if you have money, then you can just give me money and I'll give you arms and ammunitions. By doing this, USA got money payments from Britain also and from Germany also. Right? USA got a lot of money from Britain, a lot of money from Germany because it became a market of arms and ammunitions for both of them. To make these arms and ammunitions, USA did a lot of R&D, uh, engineering practices, medical science, nuclear technology, nanoscience, biotechnology. Everything was practiced, discussed, and it was done thoroughly in USA. With the focus, with this amount of management and wealth coming out as a flow from both the sides, USA becomes superpower. Why USA became superpower after the Second World War? Because USA was challenged by Germany in the Second World War by attacking on Pearl Harbor. Basically, Japan saw this entire game of USA. Japan understood that USA is developing a lot by getting money from Britain and Germany, by helping both the sides with arms and ammunitions. But Japan also wanted to be a superpower. So, in the Second World War, Japan planned to disturb USA, and to disturb USA, Japan asked Germany, Hitler, to attack on Pearl Harbor, which was the US military base. So, that's why USA entered in the Second World War and, you know, just had those nuclear blasts on Hiroshima and Nagasaki to end the Second World War. So, here you need to understand that this entire story shows that the policy of isolation is sometimes very, very important. If today India wants to follow it, if we want to be focused and to, if we want to achieve something, it is very hard for us. Why? Because we are always disturbed by China and Pakistan. We are not able to follow and be very, you know, uh, focused on things what we want, right? The problem with India is that uh, we are always disturbed on international grounds, and it is a strategy basically. Okay, it was the strategy of Europeans and Britishers. They always wanted uh, developing nations to fight among themselves so that we get arms and ammunitions from them. We will buy ships from Russia, we will buy guns from America, we will take their technology, so we will give them money and they will give us weapons. So we will just waste our money in fighting. We will waste our time, energy, money in just defeating Pakistan and China. So we will not focus on the development, right? And you can see the example is coming from the first 5-year plan. In the first 5-year plan, India achieved success. After we got independence, we focused on agriculture. In the second 5-year plan, we focused on industry. So Pakistan and China knew that after the third 5-year plan, India will be very successful and it will be having a lot of power and wealth. So they started disturbing us. China also did the Chinese aggression. Pakistan also did the war on Kargil. So from both the sides, we got disturbed. And that's why we got the slogan of Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan. Why? Because Jawans were fighting on the borders against China and Pakistan, and Kisan, they were facing the failed monsoon in India. So it shows that to disturb India, they made us realize that India should focus more on defense and military. Otherwise, it could be attacked by neighbors. So initially, we focused more on agriculture and heavy industries, but after the second 5 year plan, we diverted a lot of amount towards the defense of India, and then the leftover is used for the development of country. That's why we are still a developing country, right? So here you understood the mutiny of Singapore, you understood the scenario of First World War. So this period saw the maturing of Indian nationalism. Now Indian nationalism will be matured, and we will understand more international politics now. Fine, and this is a very very important time frame. Okay, so after getting a matured Indian nationalism, we will ask for self rule, and it would be developed and demanded by home rule leagues. So now from the next class we will discuss this topic, home rule league movement, in which we will discuss two home rule leagues of Annie Besant and Tilak. Okay, so I'll come to this particular topic in the next class. I'll end the session here only. I hope you liked the session, I hope you enjoyed it, but still, in case you have any doubts, you can ask. I'm here only. I can take your questions. Let me know if you have anything to discuss. Yes, you are right, Abhishek. That's right. Okay. So you guys need to like the video. Please like it. Please share it with your friends. And I just want to declare a small holiday for you, that it's 22nd of March today. So 23 is Saturday, 24 is Sunday, 25 is Holi, and from 26 we can resume the class. Okay, 26th March, Tuesday. Okay, so you have a 3 days holiday. So we'll not have class on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We will have class on Tuesday on 26th March. Clear? Same time, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Please come on time. Okay, these 3 days, don't just play holy, you also need to revise things. So whatever we have covered till now, we have covered 12 chapters. So you just need to revise these 12 chapters, read them by yourself, do some self study, prepare a list of questions which you will ask me on Tuesday, and if you have any doubts, okay, then you can come to me and we can discuss it on Tuesday. So you have a good amount of time to revise things. But still, I'll just tell you that follow approach, that after third reading you need to make the flow chart, and always make the flow charts or your notes in a A4 sheet. Don't follow the registers, because see, registers are not useful enough. Keep these A4 sheets with you. These kind of A4 sheets are highly useful because you can insert them in the file and folder, and whenever your notes needs to be updated, you can update with the better understanding books and materials. So don't waste your money in getting a lot of registers. Don't use spirals and registers. A4 sheets are best to be utilized for the UPSC notes because it's easy to update them, it's easy to remove a page or add a page in a file. So make file for each and every subject separately, and after third reading only you can make the notes. Fine, and you'll get a lot of learning if you make your own notes. By writing yourself, by making your own notes, you don't know that how much gain it is. It's a very good thing, it's a very good practice. So follow it and do it like this. Okay, So be on time on Tuesday. I hope I can end the session here. Thank you so much for coming, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Those of you having no doubts can leave the session here. How many of you are playing Holi? I hope you will play Holi with your friends. Yes, it's a 3 days gap. Okay. Doubts, Sunil, you can come to me with the doubts on 26th March. Okay, I'll not take any doubt class. Sunil, you can come with the doubt on Tuesday. Don't think like that, Abhishek. You should be very positive. Thank you so much, Abhishek. Okay, fine, guys. I hope all the doubts are clear. So I'll just now end the session here. I'll see you guys on Tuesday. See you then. Take care. Bye bye. Happy Holi to all of you.